Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mr. Birdie Productions. I am Jalan.
I am Lance. That's how Jalan sounds. Go ahead, Tavis.
Oh, Tavis.
And welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about why we continue to show up every day and create films in an industry that is dying in front of our faces.
Yes, sir.
As an indie filmmaker, there is nothing on the ground for us. There's not even breadcrumbs. Hollywood is slowly becoming home videos and things, but we continue to show up every day, filming videos, writing scripts for movies, putting out content. For what reason? So what I want to ask you guys is, besides the fact that we love it, we're passionate about it.
Yep.
What makes you guys show up every day to continue this journey that we're on? Who wants to go first?
Thank you, Tavis. Let's see. Without passion and without
Not without
love
passion,
and devotion.
but look for something other than, because people say that all the time. Like, I'm passionate about it. No one cares.
Honestly, people, that's how I felt when Jalan approached me about a movie. I was like, I don't care how passionate you are about this. It's just a story. Let's get this on film. I would say for me, it kind of, the first thing that comes to mind is, this is probably not like a good analogy, but it's just like if you're stuck on an island or at home,
mm-hmm.
and say you're in the situation where you're fed the same food every day.
Yep.
There's going to be at this point in your life where you're just like, oh my God, I cannot eat chicken another day. I have to do something. And if you're not that great at cooking, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out how to teach yourself how to cook,
mm-hmm.
so you can make something better that you can enjoy.
Yep.
Versus just eating chicken every freaking day.
Okay.
And this also, for me, it's more, like you said, yes, it's passionate. Yes, I love it, but it has that element of play.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep doing what I'm doing with art, with filming, with photography. It's very playful for me. And I feel like in the adult life, as we get older, play is kind of, it's not taken as seriously as it should be when we're kids,
mm-hmm.
as it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
Is because like when you think of play, the mind tends to go towards like more silly and more like goofiness.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of play, I think what we're doing is it's fully 100% play.
Yeah.
And it just brings, it's like, again, it's fun, it's enjoyable. We get to connect with people. You get to learn about yourself when you're playing. I think that's a big thing too with play. It's about connecting with yourself and with others.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, you're also learning about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say in like a short answer of why I keep doing what I do in an industry that is ultimately dying. You know, I still want to have fun for myself, even though the major industry, the umbrella of the movie industry, it does suck.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can have fun within that, my own arena, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
I like that. Makes sense. How about you, good sir?
All right. Y'all probably gonna laugh at me about this.
We would never.
Yeah.
They're gonna laugh. I think what keeps me going, or what keeps me driven about doing this, Michael Jackson.
Please explain.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, see, I knew y'all was gonna laugh.
Yeah, you weren't lying.
Out of love.
It's just, I did not expect that to be the answer, but you're gonna have to explain that one.
Growing up, like, that was somebody that caught my attention, like, at the age of 5, where it's like not just music sense, but he did everything.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas like even like in the music videos, certain songs to certain videos were like mini movies in its own way. When you look at songs like Rock My World,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, it was like a whole like mini story being told there.
I think that Smooth Criminal, they said, is like a mini mobster movie. So yeah.
Thriller, like, you know, and he had his hands in like in everything. So it wasn't just music; it was the dancing, the probably like how he wants to tell the story through acting and things like that. So to me, that's what caught my attention at a young age. I was just like, that's what I want to do. That's what's been driving me for so many years. Like, I want to be able to just tell stories in different, you know, perspective in different ways. So whether it's through filming, you know, movies, behind the scenes, like whatever it is, like I want want my hands to be in every pot there is.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like
That makes
that.
sense. That
Like
was very interesting. When you just said Michael Jackson,
I know.
Yeah, I don't know
I was like,
where.
well,
this is
how?
going.
How did he inspire you to get into movies?
I mean, he did make magic.
yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He did. I can understand.
So you know, like again, like those are like videos and stuff like that. People still remember it to this day. So it was like, on a film perspective, I would like for like, whether it's my film, our film, you know, as Mr. Birdie Production, our projects to kind of be remembered, you know, as the years go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Like that answer.
So now that we've answered,
Mm-hmm.
do you have?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I have an answer. So my answer is kind of has a little bit of what you said in it, as far as like the eating chicken every day.
Oh yeah.
After a while, you get tired of the same thing over and over and over.
Yes.
With that being said, when you get tired of eating the same thing over and over, it opens your mind to things that you may not have been willing to try, that you're willing to try now,
Mhm.
when chicken's all that's being served.
Yeah.
As an indie filmmaker, I feel like we're that other meal that we can help give people a different taste of
Yeah.
what they haven't had.
Mhm.
Hollywood, I want to say the idea of Hollywood has broken down because celebrities aren't just celebrities on the screen anymore.
Yeah.
Social media has essentially made celebrities people that we can understand and relate to.
Right.
And I feel like people have made decisions to not follow certain celebrities. They don't care about their movies. Like, and it's not even anything good or bad. It's just one of those things like in the 90s
Yeah.
when Denzel was on screen, that was the only time you saw Denzel.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
you go on the internet, you can watch all his movies, his interviews, you can get insights to
Anything,
things
yeah.
like, so it's like, I don't have to leave the house to go have that experience of seeing
Right.
Denzel.
Yeah.
So now I feel like celebrities aren't selling tickets the way they used to.
Mhm.
So now people are relying on the movie itself.
Yeah.
And Hollywood, I feel like, is afraid to take certain steps in certain directions because they have parameters they have to fall into.
Mhm.
So they're not going to do certain things to give people that different taste.
Gotcha.
Indie filmmakers, on the other hand, we're at the bottom of the trash can just fighting over crumbs. So we could
Yeah.
care less about if we're getting fed, if
Yeah.
what we're putting out matters.
Right.
It matters what we want to do. And I feel like that's what could be the new dish that we serve people who are looking into movies. Good stories,
Yeah.
quality acting, and bringing that passion back. I feel like Hollywood got to a point where they've taken scripts, they've taken the basic of a script, they'll put some new characters around it, they'll switch a few things around, but at the core, you kind of know what it is. You've seen this done a couple of times before they switch out the main guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like moviegoers are starting to pick that up.
Mhm.
They're starting to get tired of the same superhero movies, the same criminal, like we all kind of know like the same type of movie is going to come out at least once a year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, as an indie filmmaker, the reason why I feel like this is good for us and why we show up is because we can be that new aspect of it that people can be like, oh, you know what? I enjoy the story of this. I like seeing actors I've never seen before and do good jobs.
Yeah.
I think, Deception was a great way to showcase that you don't need to go to film school. You don't need to be a trained actor
Yeah.
to convey a message on the screen. So I feel like the reason why we do that is to, one, inspire other people to say like, all right, if these guys aren't rich, they're not doing everything that everyone in Hollywood is doing and they still do it, there's something to it that would make me want to do it. But also, I feel like we're good at it. I feel like we found not a niche, but overall just being self-taught, I feel like we have products that we all can be proud of.
Yeah.
So when we show up every day, it's not necessarily in the sense of like we're trying to become Hollywood, we're trying to become rich and famous.
Yeah.
I think we truly use our passion and the love and the playful aspect of it to make it something that can be a difference maker when it comes to films.
100%, I would agree with that.
So a little bit of everything that you guys said, but
Yeah.
it's funny because I, looking at the analytics and everything, it would be discouraging for someone to be creating stuff and you get 10 views on it.
Yeah.
You get 4 or 5 likes. And that can be demoralizing when if people found out the amount of time we put into this,
Yeah.
editing and
Yeah.
ideas
Yeah.
and all, it is, the output is a lot more than the input.
Yeah.
And it's just like you would never want to go to work every day and you work 30 hours, if you work 24 hours a day and you got paid $1 for the day,
Yeah. you're gonna be pissed.
you're gonna be
Yeah,
mad. So I
yeah.
feel like that's how a lot of people will look at social media, making a movie, and things like that. The input is not gonna be as big as the output, but in reality, it's usually never like that.
Yeah.
It's there's always the congratulations is always bigger than the support, and
Yeah.
people tend to get upset about that. But I think we look at it from the other end. If 10 people are watching our videos, imagine if 10 people complimented you on the street as you were walking down the street. Hey, nice shirt.
I would love it.
It would
Love it.
change the
Yeah.
trajectory of your whole day.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at like, oh, only 10 people watched, was this like, if you had a party, if you had dinner and
Yeah.
10 people came through,
Yeah.
it's a good amount of people.
It is.
You know what I mean? So that's, I think, one of the things that we appreciate about it is we look at it from a different lens. We're not looking at it to see where we can be. Obviously, we have faith
Yeah.
in our abilities and ourselves. God is walking with us through this journey. But I think, it's not necessarily like we're trying to hit milestones, we're trying to hit goals.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to do the thing. And then when the thing is done, we see where we are.
Yeah.
And then we see what we have to do next. We
Sure.
don't expect anything back.
No.
We don't feel like we deserve anything. Like, just because you do something doesn't mean the world has to gravitate towards it. And our mindset has been kind of like, let's do this for us.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what kind of has been carrying the engine, making it fun. And although we said the numbers aren't high, we enjoy doing this. As like, if we put all the bloopers and takes that we did,
Yeah.
you guys would be like, oh, y'all just,
Having a good time.
yeah, y'all just out here just doing regular stuff. So, it doesn't feel like work. It never feels like a task. So I think if anybody is starting out in art, film, whatever it is, make it so that it feels that way, and make whatever changes you need to do to make it feel like it's fun, it's playful, you're inspired. Find those elements of it so that when you do make your content, you make your movies, you're writing your script, you're motivated to do it, and you're not doing it in a sense to try to get somewhere where the destination is kind of crumbling in front of you.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go to Hollywood. Everyone wants their name on a billboard.
Yeah.
But if
Keep me out. I don't want that.
we don't want
I was
that.
gonna say I'd rather be low key.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
But just when you think of acting in movies, everyone's always kind of looking for that big break.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you look at the people who have that big break, and it's not even a big break for them. It's just
Yeah.
like, well, where does that leave us? And there's millions of people who want to act. There's millions of artists. So I can understand just looking at it from the outside, just like, damn, like I'll never go anywhere in this field.
Yeah.
And that may stop someone from entering and trying their hand at being an artist. But I would say, don't look at it from that way. Be grateful for every little bit of support you get. It is a blessing to be able to create art. Not everyone has that ability.
Yeah.
And some people have the ability and they don't capitalize on it. So, if you have the idea to jump into something, go for it. It can't hurt. And do it with people who you enjoy having around, man. I don't think we would change up the personnel here. But anyone we come around, we make sure we're good people.
I think just going off of what you said too, which I think is really important for anybody getting into the arts, which is basically about the social media and like if you got 10 likes, yeah, that's small, but just reframe your perspective of what you were saying. What if you got those 10 likes or 10 compliments from people on the streets?
Yeah.
Even though that's a very, very small adjustment to what's going on upstairs, that can make a huge difference to how you move forward. So like just making that little adjustment, you can actually focus more on creating. And then as you keep doing that you're not going to focus as much on how many likes you're getting.
Yeah.
The attention. You'll start to see like that it's going to be in the front and then slowly it's just like it's going to be in your peripherals and then in the back of your head.
You don't even think
about it anymore. I think that's a very important part that you brought up that I just wanted to just highlight again. It's just reframing your perspective. That can take you a long way.
Yeah, so that's why we show up. That's why we make videos. That's why we still continue to put out scripts and write and create, even though, it seems, that the industry itself is not as,
And I think another thing too
what you got?
is where you were going with that. The industry is dying. Sorry, I keep going into your voice.
Okay. It's not even how I talk.
Even though the industry is dying, there is like this I feel like it's in everybody where you just want to do the best you can. And it's just like, what else with track?
Mhm.
If you're running next to someone, you want to beat them. You want to smoke them.
Yeah.
You want to show them how good you
that
are.
competitive nature.
And that's what it's like for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, the industry's dying. Even if it was doing good, that mentality of always wanting to be where they are or get to where they are and then surpass them, I think that's also what keeps us moving forward.
True.
And going on with this.
Yeah, that is true. We are very competitive. Before our first movie, we watched hundreds of indie films from our area, just in general, just to see how well we stacked up compared to them. And I feel like we did well. And a lot of those people had film school. They had $100,000 budgets. Like, they were actually getting help on their projects.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're competitive. We don't ever want to put anything out that people will be like, ugh, I could have I ain't have to do that. And I mean, and granted, we're not saying that everything we put out is gold and everyone's gonna like it.
No.
But for the majority of putting stuff out, it's just like people have been like, oh wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys did good work. So that's kind of our mindset. Be competitive, be intentional, have faith. Yeah, man, and just go out and create. Don't worry about the numbers. Numbers ain't anything. If anything, just screenshot the number and edit it to make it a bigger number.
Ooh, that's good too.
Yeah, you can do that
That's
too.
good too.
You could go from 10 likes to 100 million likes,
I like that.
and only you will know it. But yeah, so I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Obviously, we have to give them a little scripture before we wrap up.
Amen.
So today's scripture is going to come from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1.
Mhm.
And that says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So faith is essentially believing in something even though you can't see it. None of us can physically see God, right? Jesus is not going to walk through the screen right now. We're going to tap him on the shoulder. Hey, man, how you doing? We have faith that he's in our lives. He walks with us. He protects us, and all the things that he has done for us to be here where we are today. That's all faith.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, the scriptures and the Bible are the evidence that we have that help make that more believable. But at the end of the day, we're going 100% on faith. And I feel like when it comes to film, that's what you got to go on. You got to go on the faith that you are doing something good.
Yeah.
You're doing something positive. You're doing something that people will enjoy, people will love. And you just stick with that faith. There are going to be times where people say things or do things that may make you question your faith, and you got to be strong enough mentally and spiritually to understand that the enemy is always out to get you. So it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be people that challenge you. There's going to be people who comment on your film and say, you guys didn't need to make that, it was too long. There's always going to be those things. And just like your walk with God, there's going to be people who tempt you to sin. There's going to be people who are going to say, like, God ain't real. You know what I mean? And they may say some things that are compelling. You're like, oh, I didn't think of that. But at the end of the day, you lock in. You just like, I ain't listening to that. I got the Bible right here. You could go burn in hell. I'm not going. But not that we want anyone to burn in hell, but that's kind of what it comes out to. But you guys got anything on faith?
Like you said last week, I'm glad I didn't go first for it. Last? What'd you say?
After him.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
What about you, good sir?
No.
He's worried about his phone.
He's wondering if he's going to get fired today.
You might get beat after this.
He'll be here next week with a really black eye. Maybe 2 black eyes.
It'd be funny if Tavis just like really flinching next.
Like we were doing something to him, but you just don't know what.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. This was a long one, but I feel like this one had a good amount of substance to it. But
I think so, too.
as always, we appreciate you guys for watching. The 10 people who do be watching, shout out to y'all. But yeah, we'll see you guys next Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good Saturday.